Hi, I'm Pastor JoJo, and welcome to this week's show. The title of the show you already know, Let's Talk and More Action. Today is an honor to say who is in the house with me today. I took my hat off for this gentleman here because he got that clean head, but tell the folks just who you are.
I'm Ben Hassan, born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you, Pastor JoJo.
Amen, amen. Well, what the show is all about, Mr. Hassan, is just simple. Let's talk and more action. I love Brandon, you all on here to talk about the government, the world, and everything that's going on, and pretty much just say, let's stop talking about the problem, but talk about the solution. But today I really want the folks to know about you and some upcoming things that you got coming on and going on. So first, let's talk about family.
Okay, but first let me back up a little bit in terms of the foundation you laid in terms of less talk and more action. I think that's very appropriate. That's something that we all need to sink our teeth in. That's what's going to really get the job done at the end of the day, because all of us talk about it, but so many of us are really about it at the end of the day. So the community and our families pays the price. And obviously when you have an instrument such as the media to get your message out there, because it's always good when you have the opportunity to tell your own story. So when you're doing the kind of work that you are doing and making an impact in this community, it always gives us an opportunity to reach our potential as a community. So once again, hats off to you in terms of what you're doing. Now in terms of talking about family is the most important structure of society. When we think about the creation of humanity, God started with a family. We think about Adam and Eve, and we think about Cain and Abel, even though we know there were some things that happened, but that is God revealing to us the potential and the obstacles that man gonna have to overcome throughout his journey in this destiny here.
Amen.
And so we have to realize there are gonna be challenges. Yeah. There are gonna be challenges, but at the end of the day, family is the ultimate part and the foundation of humanity.
Well, I love that. I love that answer, and I'm gonna keep rolling. I don't like talking too much,
Okay.
But we told the folks who you are, but we didn't tell them the headline. Commissioner. Now, I want to get into a little bit of politics, a little bit, and let the people know a little bit about your views. I was here in Augusta when you got elected, and I think that was one of the great things that happened for Augusta, Georgia. And but tell them a little bit about your views and what you see in politics a little bit.
Well, okay, thank you for that. I've been elected official now almost going on about a year and a half, because I got sworn in prematurely. I was elected in 2014, but I was sworn in 2015. But even before that, I was sworn in prematurely because the predecessor, he lost his wife, and as a result of that, he resigned early. But I had won the seat at that time, so they swore me in prematurely. But in terms of that, but even prior to that, I had been attending Augusta Richmond County Commissioner since 2006.
Yeah.
Been there about 80 to 95% of the time, and just been there, always interested in my government, always believing in my community in spite of. Also around 2011, I started a newspaper with a business partner called the Urban Pro Weekly. So many times people associate me going to the commission meeting with the newspaper, but we're talking about the newspaper came online in 2011, but I've been going there since 2006. But also in 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, I began to just be more concerned about my community. So about 3 years, I took and be just listening to the daily talk shows around local politics. I also began to look at the news from 5:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, different stations, trying to look at the impact of the media on our community. And ultimately one day, it just said to me, God said, put in my spirit, at the end of the day, that really can't control you unless you allow it to control you. Yeah. So later on in life, I began to get more actively involved in the community, and in spite of all the challenge that we have, I'm still believing in the community ultimate at the end of the day. And I'm excited about the future. In terms of what we're getting ready to do now, you're giving us an opportunity, a platform to have a television program say the future's now. So I'm looking forward to presenting that to the public.
And I'm glad you said that without me saying the first, the future is now.
Right.
That's powerful. Now you got to just talk about that just a little bit.
Well, it's simple for me. A lot of times we hear people talk about the possibilities.
Yeah.
They always say, we need to do something to move this community forward. Well, for me, Pastor JoJo, that's not broad enough to start people to thinking.
Right.
See, it's always important that we say things that start people to thinking, because language is the vehicle of transportation for the human being. We can't travel without it. We don't grow. A picture's worth 1,000 words. It comes in the language in our mind. Example, if right now I say to you, Pastor JoJo, we need to move this table forward. Well, you'll pick the table up, and I'll pick it up, but we'll slide it forward. But guess what? most likely that lamp is going to be on it as well, so it's going to go forward. But when I think about the future, it automatically says to me and everybody else, certain things ain't gonna travel with us.
Right.
And it just has no place in the future for it. Don't mean it's bad overall, but in terms of the destiny in the future, it just can't go. And that's for all of us. There's certain things that we need to shed in terms of the way how we view our culture and things that is a part of us right now. It won't allow us to grow and to mature and develop in the future, so it just can't go with us.
Yeah, I love that, because you listen to your parents sometimes. They say, "Listen, I know them your friends right now, but sometimes your friend can't go where God wants you to go."
Absolutely, and that's why sometimes we have to shed those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're bad for them and they're bad for you.
Wow.
Sometimes our family, they're always, and mom and dad loving us, they always say, you know, that boy no good, but sometimes it be us.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we are not a good match for each other because we're not on our best behavior.
Yeah.
Probably if we calibrate our thought process, we can be of some good, but based on how our connections are, we won't allow ourselves to grow.
Yeah.
And so we become bad for each other at the end of the day. And so we got to put ourselves in a better position at the end of the day. And then we can only one that can make that decision.
Well,
you
you
control your own destiny.
I love that right there, what you're saying, because a lot of time I'm gonna jump right onto the young folks with peer pressure, because sometimes we make them decisions because we're dealing with other folks. The education system in Augusta, Georgia. I know we have Dr. Pringle in now. What is your views on the young folks in education?
Well, I think number one, the best thing for happened for Richmond County in quite some time is Dr. Pringle. Dr. Pringle, I think, is a stalwart for education. I think she's bringing a lot of discipline. She's made a lot of changes. I think the community has received her well. I think she has a hand around what she wants to do for this community. Oddly enough, or strange enough, or excited enough, she has reached out to every commissioner and had to sit down and talk with us and show us some things that concerns her and how we can have an impact in this community, how we can work collaboratively in the educational realm. So she's done something that's unprecedented in terms of reaching out to us. I've met with, I think, and most of my colleagues, probably one or two have not thus far, but she's arranged it, and we've sat down with her and had a conversation with her at her request. So that's a great thing. So that, to me, was very refreshing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the future. In terms of our young people in education, we got to go back to where it used to be. I think it was the Negro College Fund or something. Mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Oh, yes.
That is something that we got to bring back into the forefront, the value of education.
Right.
You know, education, we have to understand that education is not so much what people or your teacher put inside of you, is what your teacher is able to bring out of you. Your God-given gifts and talents that's already inside of you. But the teacher has to have the wherewithal, with the support of the parents or vice versa, that they're able to tap that well and bring out the God-given gifts and talents that's already dwell inside of you, because the Creator has given all of us ample tools to be successful. And somebody has to remind all of us is that God didn't make no junk.
Oh, I like that. You know, something kind of funny, because everybody talk about, I talk a lot, but you being here today is like me with the old Bible say, sit at the feet of the elders. I just need to listen today. And I love that, because one thing I want to ask you too before we leave the show today, because this show, I ain't having no commercial break this time, because I just want the people to know who you are, what you're about the new show is coming on. But tell some about the goals that you have set for yourself as well as for your television show.
Well, I want all of us to be mindful that, you know, that Augusta is a very unique and dynamic city, and we have not been able to scratch the surface in terms of its potential.
Yeah.
Many times we focus on what we don't have, but we have to think about what we want.
Right.
And what price or what sacrifice are we willing to make to achieve what we want. And that's the challenge for us. All of us talk about, it goes back to what you said much earlier in terms of your program, less talk and more action. That many times we talk about what's not being done, but are we committed to the things that we say that we'll like seeing to be done? Are we committed to making those things happen? Yeah. And so we have to create a climate, create an environment, create a culture that would allow us to create buy-in from the community at large and see what sacrifices are we really willing to make. And that's what I'm looking forward to, help being a part of that process of what you're doing and what others are doing out there like mine, who we have yet to meet.
Come on.
That the Creator will bring them within our realm, and that we become believers in the potential of Augusta, Richmond County, so that we can be the beacon of light that we are capable of being in this region. And I'm absolutely excited about the potential.
Well, I love that. And I got to ask this. I already see futures now as being something major, and God is blowing up, not just in our region, but all over the world. And saying that, some of the guests that you're thinking about bringing on the air and talking to them?
Well, most notably, what first thing comes to mind for me is our sheriff, Richmond County Sheriff Roundtree.
Yeah.
Sheriff Roundtree has done some things unprecedented in terms of the platform that he ran on. Based on being an elected official, he's able to implement those things, and in many ways, he has delivered on those things. So I look forward to having the sheriff once again to sit down and talk to the community some of the things he's accomplished.
Yeah.
I look forward to bringing on the city administrator. I look forward to bringing on Dr. Pringer from the Board of Education. I look forward to bringing some of the community stakeholders and people who believe in Augusta and want to see a difference and willing to make the necessary sacrifices. I'm looking forward to bringing on some of my colleagues in terms of commissioners, some of the Board of Education members, and other people as well, not just them, because many times we talk among ourselves, but we don't get the community input. And so I want to bring community people in and share what's on their heart about the possibility. So at the end of the day, we won't focus on what we don't have. We'll focus on where we want to go as a community, and we'll be creating a community, an environment for community buy-in.
Well, I like that. Well, this will come to the point where I said the last word of the day. And first of all, I want you to tell the people how you feel about this, about the state of the world. We got the election going on, and I mean Democrat, Republican, and all this kind of stuff. For your last word today, just tell her what is on your mind.
Well, I understand people being Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and all those kind of things. I really understand that. But at the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
Yes.
We all want the same thing. So many times we got to step away from the label and look down and see what sacrifice we're willing to make for what we want, because many times it's not in the labels.
Right.
They're almost has come just as dangerous as race.
Yeah.
In terms of causing us to divide ourselves and not protect the integrity of the Constitution that governs this nation and allowed America to be the number one nation in the world.
Yeah.
We're fastly moving away from that because we're losing our moral compass. And so we're going to have to come back and talk about the possibilities and realize that we all want the same thing. But what price are we willing to make?
Right.
Are we willing to get past that I'm a Democrat? Are we willing to get position that I'm a Republican? Are we willing to get past that? If we get past race, what sacrifice are we willing to make? Because there's some people who, as poor as Job Turkis, may be of the other persuasion.
Right.
But because I am black, they
man.
think they have a right to talk about me and what my wants and desires and needs are, and when they don't even know nothing about me. And at the same time, vice versa. So we got to stretch the conversation, we got to stretch the imagination and realize that we all want the same thing, that God has given all of us the desire to have good homes, safe communities, appreciate education, to raise a good family, want to be financially stable, and want to give back to the community so we can make the world a better place than it was when we got here.
I love that.
I think we all want the same thing.
Same thing. Now, for the people that want to reach out to you and contact you and ask questions, you have an email address or anything that they can text you or any information?
Well, you know, for my phone number, I don't mind people calling me. My phone number is 706 831-7828, 706-831-7828. Either they can email me at BZ, B as in Ben, Z as in zebra, Hassan, 1S, HASAN, 54 at yahoo.com. And we can have these conversations about where we want to go, because absolutely, once again, the future's now.
I like that, because what I love about you, Mo, is you let people talk directly to you. Ain't no middleman, ain't got to go up the stairs to get to you, and that's what I love. You keep being who you are, because young fellas like me look up to you, I tell you that. And for my word of the day to all of you out there, less talk and more action. But what I want to say is this right here. I'm so tired of all of us putting the blame on a different race and all this kind of stuff like that. This is what we need to do. We need to start keeping prayer in school, need prayer everywhere in our lives, in our homes, in our families, because prayer makes a difference. And for my last word today is trust God. Trust God. And from Let's Talk, More Action, I'm Pastor JoJo with Commission Being a Son. It's been an honor, and we'll see you next week.